What's going on? What's up, Hydra? Jonathan, can you guys hear me okay? What's up, Jay? Back at it again, man. There's extra work I'm doing on the side that I didn't share yesterday in that public stream. So I don't know, some of you guys in here are more, like you support me more, and you guys kind of are like wanting to get my opinion on stuff, and, I'm working on stuff a little different than outside the norm, so I would rather share stuff for people that actually give a shit, you know what I mean, and not ones just or join in to troll me, or just hate. I don't want to even talk to them. So we'll see how this whole unfolds. I actually come out very successful. I think it might look at times that it's not going to, and then all of a sudden things start coming together, and everyone's like, "Oh crap, this is actually happening." So, what's up, Jeremiah? Everybody in here, shout out to Blue Wrench Mob, Ladies of the Space, Arrow Time, they might come up in here, and anybody lurking. So small group, I'm cool with that. I like that. I can talk to you guys one-on-one, and I'm just going to share with you guys what I'm watching. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to show you, we're going to be doing XRP. So I'm going to put it on a daily, and I'm going to show you guys this, and some of you guys might know to do this. If you don't, feel free to add on your trading view. If you are a charter, add a 23-hour. As you guys probably see on mine, I have I have a ton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, I add so much, and I comb this. So what I'm about to do is go to the 23-hour. But before I do that, let's just look at the daily, right? And what I'm looking at is like moving averages, and we're going to look at the mini fractal, which is in here, which this move right here I think is happening on a grand scale. Possibly us being like right here at this edge, meaning we need to pull down, come down, and that move right there will happen. It'll pull down. That's how we're gonna get some sub 20 cent buys. One last try. After that, I think everything is good. I'm not thinking that needs to go down anymore once this happens. So anyways, we're going to go from the daily, and we're going to go over to the 23-hour because we're going to see what it shows us compared to what we're looking at now. So if you look at the moving average here when it crashed, you're just looking for this to kind of come over. It's just not in a good position right here. This one right here, you can see obviously folded over, but before you even know that it's folding over, the candles are coming through. So let's just look at that just so you guys know. Most of y'all probably do. Some of y'all are experienced. So you see how once that candle came through, you can see where the moving averages were. Nothing was saying anything crazy. That candle came through, and it was like, okay, what's going on? And then obviously the big one came through, boom, right? And then it shuffled up, and then a couple little, another day, oh, nope, another day, and it came all the way down to 17.3, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to just shave an hour off of every candle. And by doing that, it's going to show like a little bit of a different, to me, it kind of exposes possibly what's about to happen. So watch this. So let's go ahead and take the daily off and go to the 23-hour. Now look at our moving averages. All I did was shave an hour off of every candle. Now look what's over here. Look at that setup. Now, once again, I'm always going to be aware that what I'm about to say can do the opposite. But what I'm telling you guys right now is no one's looking at a 23-hour chart, first off. Rarely, if anybody is. And look at now the moving averages. So let's turn off the lights, meaning the candles are going to go off. Now look at the moving average. Now what is it telling you? So I'm going to flip back to the daily, right? It's not going to tell us much. It's going to be like, it's kind of pointing up still. But the 100 blue's down. We're not really getting a lot of info from this, right? But what we do know is candles come through and then it folds over. So it'd be a delayed, right? However, if we say, let's shave an hour off and see what it does. It goes to a 23-hour like this. My buddy Milan brought this up to me yesterday because I stopped looking at the 23-hour. I need to keep looking at all my stuff. And now when I look at it, I'm like, oh, shave an hour off. Now you're telling me you're looking like you can curl over, which is what you did back here, which is what you did here, which is what you did here. And if that takes place, then we might be in a dangerous situation where now we're getting candles dropping down, right, quickly. So if that happens here, it can happen on, let's say, the some of the assets from the public stream that we were like, hey, let's make some plays. This is what I'm talking about. We can go and try to make some plays. But at any moment, this can happen, and it doesn't mean that everything will always be good. So this can happen, and, there goes your profits, some of your profits, So I'm all about taking money and profits right now and going on the sideline and sitting and waiting. I'm okay with that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it protects people, especially if we feel like we haven't cleared out some wicks and some gaps, right? Remember, wicks below, gaps below. What would be ideal is to take your guys' profits and drop it down here, and then we don't have to worry. Then it really, our mind's at ease, like, hey, just relax, let this bad boy ride. You know, we're good. You know, you can just sit back and watch, you not panic or worry. Those that are up here and bought and maybe put a bunch more money in and they don't take profits, and it does come back down here and now we're at sub 15 or something, you know, it's going to suck. You know, I get it, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be out of the water. It's just they're going to have to deal with, you know, waiting for this to come here and then go up to either break even or start really getting some profits. But if we play this right, and what in my approach does end up becoming right, this is going to reap really high rewards, because I'm then taking tens of thousands of dollars and not holding it where it goes down and I wait for it to come back up, but I'm actually taking it and dropping it and placing it down here at this base, knowing that we're going to go up here to certain levels that we already know are going to get achieved. And it's almost, I hate to say 100%, but you're just going to be able to literally take 10K right here, and you see there's 5, 6, you know, you're going to literally make a ton of money on this right here. There's 60,000. So just off that move right there, just going back from there up to there off of 10 grand, it'll be quickly put you up there. So that's just off XRP. So anyways, what am I looking at right here is I'm watching this moving average cutting across here. There's going to be a lot of things that are about to get tied together in this live stream. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, this is interesting. I'm like, let's divide it by 2, meaning let's put XRP at the top on this on a 23 hour, right? Let's look at it this way. Let's put it on the 23 hour, and then let's throw NASDAQ below and just get an idea of what this thing, and I was showing this on my IG, so I'm going to do it on here because I find it interesting. So we'll go 100, NASDAQ right here. We'll throw NASDAQ underneath, and we're going to put this at a similar scale in the sense of what was the NASDAQ doing, what was XRP doing. So the first things first is look at what the NASDAQ's doing, the way it's set up, right? The yellow, you can see right here, we're going through the yellow, we're through the blue now, right? We're through the yellow, we're through the blue, we're playing around on the blue right now, which is what it did. Look at the moving averages, right? So let's keep that in mind. That's what NASDAQ is looking at right now. So let's go to XRP. Back when it crashed, what was it looking like? Well, we had on the 23 hour, we had the yellow coming through the blue. And what was it doing? It was creating these like little moves that it kind of shuffled and kind of pushed up a little bit, but then it dropped a candle, and then it pushed up a little, and then dropped a candle. If we come over to where we're at today and look at the same setup, we're like, look at this. This is what we're at the same point again. We have the 50 moving average coming over, which is what it was doing here. We're seeing this little kind of scoop up right there, which is that. I mean, we could say it's up here. However we want to look at it. There's so many ways. I'm just looking at this angle, like just the current setup. I guess let me take this off. Let me see. Let me remove this real quick and take that off. And then I can circle stuff here while I speak. So I'm looking at just this setup here. You know, I'm just looking at that. So if you're wondering what I'm looking at that. And I'm looking at this. And I am looking at this, right? Because this is how we looked back then, and I got a similar view today of that same kind of thing. Sorry, let me. Okay, so that's what I'm watching. So to me, this is a very sketchy area. If somebody was looking at it this way, they'd be like, "Oh, I see what you're saying." So it's easy to be blinded by this and to go look at everything and go find ones that are kind of pushing up and stuff, which to me is, you know, kind of like little bull traps, you know, bull trapping people, making them think everything's good. Now, there's money to be made there, so I'm not knocking that, but my whole thing is I don't think everything is fine yet, so there's going to be a pullback. So if I think that there's a massive pullback, well then whether I miss out on some profits temporarily right now, and once again, you only make profits if you make it real. So your portfolio can go up, but if you're not selling, it never becomes real. So someone could be sitting in profits right now in XRP, but if it drops down like that, it literally, once again, I did it on the show yesterday, snap your fingers, it's all gone now. That nothing became real because you never sold. You know, so, and I'm not trying to force people to do anything. I'm just showing you how I'm playing it. I'm just giving you guys what I'm doing. I'm completely comfortable sitting in cash, super liquid, because I think that there's an opportunity that's below us before we can really go up. So I'm willing to miss risking the push-ups to capitalize on the base. I want the bottom because that's gonna really where I'm gonna make a lot of money. But like I said, you can play around if you want. Just I think it's wise that we're alert to what could be happening below. So I'm gonna take these off, and let's just keep looking at this. I just took away my indicators. Remove drawings. Okay. So this is really interesting to me, just the way this looks. So we're kind of set up in the same way, and let me take away the NASDAQ there, and you can kind of see what I'm looking at just by looking at, let's take this off, just looking at the way that is. Now the one thing that's very interesting to me is this damn 200 moving average. It's pointing down. I've seen this happen before. I saw it happen when XRP was going to crash. I saw something changing on the moving average. I think it was here on a small scale. I said, this isn't normal. We're going to pull down from this point. I knew we were going to come down from here because this was shifting. So when you look at the moving average right now on that 200, you might ask yourself, I mean, I'm asking myself, like, why are you pointing down already? Nothing has happened yet. So if you look at XRP when it fell here, did the 200 start pointing down in advance or anything? No, it never even pointed down. But that was a drastic move down. So you would think, well, there should have been a reaction that it pointed down. It just kind of ran flat the whole time. It didn't like come down and kick back up or anything. So I find that it's arcing over in advance interesting to me. It's like, why are you doing that? There's nothing to signal that you need to be doing that right now. Like this little move right here that came down and up. I mean, if that's because these are a lag, if that's causing it, it's just like, well, why didn't something like this cause it? Or if we go back, like what about this move down? Why didn't this kind of bend it down more? I just find it interesting, you know, like why is it bending down, right? Usually it bends down after moves have happened. So you see how this is bending down right there, the 200, and you see how we got candles coming in. So that would make sense to me. It's like, yeah, this thing had a drastic pull down right there from this point here. And if you see how far we went down pretty much 50, 60, 60%. And you can see we started to bend that down a little bit more. But it makes sense because we pulled that down. So I find this very interesting that this thing is bending, pointing down, you know. So, but everything else looks the same to me as far as just that setup. And the mini fractal tells me that we're supposed to go down anyways, which is why I'm staying patient with XRP. Before I go to the mini fractal, let me go to EOS. I find that interesting as well. I started going through a bunch of cryptos like that. Look, I put a box on this one just being, you know, messing around. So here's the same setup. Look over here. I'm gonna erase that. So yeah, look over here compared to this right here. So I'll take off the candles so you can probably see them a little better. You see this setup right here? So I want you to think about this being right here. The blue's coming up. The red is coming up like underneath a little bit, and that's the same setup, right? So if we look at that and we say, okay, well, once again, let's, you know, put it against, let's put it against NASDAQ. And once again, we're NASDAQ, or we fell back in March. We're in the same setup right here, hitting that blue and stuff, like I said, with XRP, same setup. So you can see how this is actually like very interesting, where it's like, are we going to just go up or is this going to continue down? So if this continues down, that means we're on one of these ledges here, and that means that the crash has already started. No one really is aware of it yet. And I think I made this comment on another video. I said, yeah, a lot of times the crash has already started and people don't even know on certain assets. So if we were using EOS as an example, and we felt that EOS held some weight, and it's like, and it struggles to push up or anything, and it's hanging out here, one move, it can happen just like this. One move can do this, bink, and I think instantly everyone will know, like, this thing is, something's not right. Everything is shifted. So right here, if the next couple days this hits a mark like this and goes right underneath its 200, like it did over here, because that's what it did right there, went right underneath that 200. If that's what happens, everything shifts. Snap of a finger, like I've said, it shifts that quick into, wait, something's off, something's not right. Dogecoin's tanking, things are tanking, people are trapped, bull trapped. Their money they spent, they threw in money from January 2021, and they're buying all this, thinking everything's going to go good, and now we're not doing good. So it becomes a pretty nasty bull trap. So EOS doesn't look like it's done anything really. So it, by all means, this thing can rise up and ride out of here. Like I'll just use OGN as an example since we were using that and looking at that. So you can see what happened here. This one came down and then it pushed up. So here, this is where it gets interesting, guys. So where's it at right now? It's pulling down. So it's right here. So it wicked up there. Check this. This is what I'm watching. I shared this on on my Twitter. Watch this. And maybe you guys watched, and I'm gonna explain it. Maybe you watched it already. No, I sent it to Cage because Cage I knew was making trades on Origin. I just wanted him to see what was taking place again. Here it is, right here. This one. It was this video. I'm gonna pull up the snapshot though. Okay, so look what's happening. This February 2020, right here, February 8th, 2020, February 26th, 2020, March 2020. You see this fractal it drew, this big M, and you can see what ended. What's the chances? You guys tell me right now. Like, this is what stuff is bizarre to me. That's why I was playing that song in that video. I said this is bizarre. What's the chances of exactly a year later that you're gonna pretty much kind of draw me the same thing? Exactly a year later, on the same dates, pretty much, you're going to hit a high for me, which is the left side here. Then you're going to pull down to the 200 moving average, which is here. Then you're going to push up. We pushed up again, which is what it did today, or pushed up more. And then by March 11th, you might be sinking this thing. What's the chances of that? Why would, I mean, unless, you know, they're like, hey, let's just fool people. Like, I'm like, you're fooling, who are you fooling? Because this isn't obvious to a lot of people. So you're not fooling people, or you are giving insight to people. So if you're trying to fool people, you need to let them know, like, let them be more aware and super easy to find. But for me, there's no one really in the space paying attention to this. I mean, no one is. I'd be very surprised to see that somebody picked up on that. So what I did was I did the same thing I just was showing you. I put in NASDAQ here, and I'm like, okay, so NASDAQ, when it fell in March, I'm like, it created this W, and then instantly, I looked over to the right, and I'm like, holy crap, it's doing the same thing in a way. Like, what the hell's going on here? I'm like, I see that, I'm like, it's doing the same thing again at the same point, and everything is lining up. So, yes, their moving averages here, the way it pushed up, you can't see the history is cutting off more of it, but you can tell where the yellow, the blue, and the red were, right? See the yellow, the blue? Well, the red would be underneath. So you'd have the red underneath. So it would be the same setup. It would be the same exact setup. So if that's the case, well, this OGN, so somebody asked me, hey, do you think it can go up more? And I'm like, it can, but it doesn't need to. If it follows this course, it pulls down. So I'm a person that takes profits. I'm like, I take the profits. Go find something else that seems a little more likely to, if you want to continue to make money on your money and not just hope that because it can easily be taken away from you, as you guys know. So once again, I just showed you XRP setup. You know, let me erase this. Let's just think about this. We can go through them right now and spend time to figure this out. We noticed that this coming down is set up very similar to where we'd be coming down today. We've also noticed that this M, this fractal here, the way this came and dropped is what it's doing today. I think this is a more massive form. I think this is a more massive form today. The same thing is here. Trading view, the name of the moving average that you're using. There are many different ones, similar names. Okay, so if you go to the indicators here, moving averages is all I'm using. Type in moving averages. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Let me, why is it my scripts? Built-ins. Right there. Okay, so the built-ins. So click on built-ins and then click on moving average. This is what I'm doing. I'm just doing, sometimes I was doing the exponential. I was doing the exponential back in the day, but then I was just like, I'll just get good with my moving average. So this is the one I'm doing. So make sure I didn't add any more. Yeah. MA style. I'm trying to see if it will show what I'm using. Yeah. So yeah, it's just that one. So make sure you go to indicators and you go to built-ins and then type in moving averages. I can see why you guys would get confused. That's what I'm using, right? And then they're set up on 50, which is my yellow, 100 is my blue, and 200 is my red. All right. All right, so let's look at some more. So this is throwing this right side up right now, which is what it just did literally today. Pushed up that last push a little bit more. You can see that it's creating a wick on the top, right? But let's just see how that unfolds. So what we're going to also do now is let's look at some of these other assets. So we already looked at EOS. Let's look at Dash. We already looked at XRP. They're all set up in a very similar way too. So let's once again and see how this one's looking. So here goes Dash, and I haven't fully looked at these. So here, what does Dash do? So this is how Dash was looking before it crashed. So it kind of pulled this like up, and then Gooseneck kind of move, and then it started to tear down and fall. And look at the moving averages. Do you see how close we can? It's setting up the same exact way. And if this is true, and this has started, the crash has already started. So there's a chance that the crash has already started. The video we did with measuring out NASDAQ and, you know, Dow Jones is actually correct. It's just not full. No one knows it yet. You're welcome, Evoke. No one knows it yet. So it's like, because all it takes is, once again, it takes one line to come through to shift the sentiment, so that everyone, it'll shift their mindset real quickly if a line comes through real quick and there's some news or something that hits. So right now it looks like that we would be somewhere on the verge up here, about to be turning down, if that's true. So then let's go from Dash, let's go to I'll just do BTC, right? Let's start looking at the main ones to say, is there something going on here that we need to look at that actually deems true. So BTC, it's probably not going to be as clear at all, so we're not going to see anything. So here goes BTC, the way it climbed up, right? And that's the way it climbed up. Now let me stop and show you something with BTC which you guys might find interesting. So if we take Bitcoin and say, well, how did you crash last time? What did you do? Like, what were you looking like? And it's this fractal right here, right? Can we make sense of this little move here in a bigger form, right? This is why it would be a big version of today. So let's flip this sideways. I didn't show this yesterday either. There's things I could show, I just didn't show publicly. Let me put this on a daily. Let's do this. Okay. And the crash was back here. I'll shrink this down so we can see it more on the before it crashed, what the pattern was looking like. Okay, here's the pattern that it was looking like. So when I look at this, these moves here, I then say, okay, well, this is where it bottomed out, and then it moved, it created this form as it climbed, and then it crashed. So I say, okay, well, what are we creating today? Do we have a triple cup bottom? And that's actually what's going on in here. So what I ended up doing one time is, let me, yeah, that was me looking for that move right there. So maybe it's, I got my next line up. So maybe this is this next line up, and then it does it. That might have been from when I was doing Tory stuff. So let me just erase this. I'm okay with removing the drawings. This is what I was looking at. I'm like, okay, so when it came out of this base here, it came up and it did this move right here, and then it went to a mountaintop and pulled down. So I'm like, there goes one here, right? So when it comes off that base there, so you have to see that there was like one, we'll just call 1, 2, 3. Well, if you go down in here and look at this, you'll find that it's running 1, 2, 3. It's just running on an incline. This one just kind of went sideways, right? But after it came up and it did a move like that, right? And then it comes and does another move, right? We're just doing it on now we're doing it on a daily. So then it comes out of here and it comes up and it does this like chop down like that. So then I'm like, all right, we come up there and we're going to do something like that. I then see this. I then see that there's one more, and then there's two more, and then we start to fall. Okay? So then what do I have? I have one more, and then I have two more. And then I would say we start to fall, right? So if I was actually reading the fractal, and saying, did you complete all the moves on a daily versus the 4 hour, the baby version, which was still a big version, and you're about to do a massive version of it. Did you complete them all? And it's like, well, yeah, you did. All of them are complete. I then can say, well, should we go to Ethereum and go look at Ethereum to see if Ethereum has completed it? So that's how I'm reading Bitcoin's fractal. If I was to read it, I just don't share it too much. It's in my mind when I look at it. So then I say, okay, well, if Bitcoin's doing that, and we know that it's at its last point, and we're seeing some of these others at its last point, are we that close where it's like, hey, man, this is actually going to come through? It just no one can see it right now. It's not being shown. Strong possibility that's what's happening right here. Let me put us back on NASDAQ. So strong possibility that's going to happen. So Bitcoin would be the hardest one to read in the sense that it wouldn't look as obvious. But once again, this happening here, and all it takes is this to curl back over, because remember, I just went in there and looked at that moving, that move right there is a bigger form. So I just looked at that move and I just copied it here. That's what's happening here. But it shows that it would be finished, like it should be finished, and it would come over. So let me go to, let me put this on a 23 hour. It's not even on a 23 hour. You might find that interesting, what I just did. Would love it if you could check out quant. I think you're invested in it. Might be wrong, but thanks either way. Yeah, I check, I've been through a lot of my controls AI though. You guys, here, let me tell you guys my thought on that. What Jay just said. I actually believe it's coming from, either someone said, oh, it's either London. I think inside Wall Street, man. I know it sounds bizarre, but I think inside Wall Street. Like, I feel like there's some sort of like computer system, some sort of hub where the coding and the programming is the same, and it's just they're running it and it's controlling it. I just like genuinely feel that. And what it is all the exchanges are obviously plugged into each other, but the main computer, the main hub is fueling those exchanges. So those exchanges are getting flooded with buy and sell orders all from the source. So the source runs the show because the source has all the liquidity. It is the market. The source is the market. We're playing in the market, and it literally can time. That's why it's easy to time with news and stuff like that. So the source that's controlling the market is also controlling the media, the news, and that's why it lands at the same time and stuff. That's just my belief. So I don't have any proof on it other than I found plenty of assets drawing identical, and it's just like that doesn't even make sense. And I'm talking the Bitcoin, and this other one was drawing candle for candle, wick for wick at one point. I'm like, wow, every candle and every wick is matching. So not to go down that rabbit hole, but let me look at some other stuff here I have not looked at, so I'm doing it with you guys. So like LTC, let's look at this and see how LTC is looking right now in the 23 hour, and if we can find some sort of resemblance on like what is taking place here. So just pushed up right there. Huh. So this obviously would, if this was it, this would come over. See, majority of people right now are hoping that the moving averages continue to, you see how they just kind of go up, push up, push up. They're hoping that it does the same thing again, and they just hope that it keeps going and does that. But you guys know as well as I know, it's like, well, that's just kind of sketchy for that to even fully always happen. It could be this one where, once again, it just, if we're on it right, it drops like this, and everyone's like, oh shit, things are changing. Yep, things just changed real quickly. Sorry, it's now clearing out gaps. It would happen that quickly, which would then turn into a typical head and shoulders. And what would you get over here? Same kind of scenario, coming off that base. So you can see how quickly this can actually, and I know if some of you guys might be in Tori's group and stuff, he's watching LTC. He strongly believes it comes down and clears these levels. I think so too, and I'm doing it from a different angle. Well, DJI, I'm gonna go check that. Oh, I see it it's kind of hanging out at that 32. We'll have to go look at that. And I'm gonna, I guess I could stop for a second and show you DJI. Let me pull DJI real quick against. We have I mean, I think you guys know that I'm a big fan of these these moves here happening, right? And I think this one happens. So yeah, it's like, we got higher highs happening, in conjunction with lower lows happening, which is why I think there's a lower low. That's how it would line up with what I'm showing you. Absolutely, Jay. Yeah, I don't believe the markets are controlled by humans, but rather a machine, and we are playing the game hoping we can take profits away from the machine completely. It's why the liquidating of people doing leveraging and margins, why they get liquidated. It's because the machine knows what you're doing. It knows. It's super smart. It's AI, and it'll knock you out. So just when you think you have the edge, it's no different than a casino. The house wins majority of the time. Somebody did like a statistic, and only 10% of like people that do that are successful, like, or even trading. Somebody this one guy was like, yeah, only 10% of traders are really successful, Chris. He's like, a lot of them will end back up at either like 50-50. And I'm like, that's what the machine wants you. See, the machine doesn't want you to, it wants you to win sometimes, but it never will let you fully get ahead. It wants to keep you coming back. You know what I mean? It doesn't want you to think that it's impossible. It wants to make you think it's possible. That's why you keep coming back. You see what I'm saying? Because if you lost like 10 times in a row, you're gonna be like, dude, I can't even do this. Is terrible. No, I'm not doing that. You can't. They want you to win a little bit because they want you to keep coming back. It's a cycle. They'll keep you on this Ferris wheel. So, anyways, this is what I'm looking at for Dow Jones, and let me just zoom in on it right now. So it's at 32. So we got some wicks off the top here. Could we be forming this right here? And we're just pushing up to come over? Yeah, absolutely. It's drawing its own way. I think I thought like that was it right there, this one, because it was close. But look, now it's copied. This one's very similar too. See that little move right there? It's very similar. Let's drop down on this to like a 8 hour. Didn't even change when I did that. Let me go to a 4 hour. Yeah, see, when we're playing through here, you're definitely in it. All it takes, and this is a 4 hour, all it takes is what? You see how quickly it goes 1, 2, pink? That's literally like a couple days right there, or a day or two. Really, these are 4 hour candles. So once it slips, it slips. So once it slips, boom, it skips and it comes right down here. Now it's game on. It just started, right? Now it'll start drawing its way down here. It's going to start wiping out all these gaps that I've been waiting for, and it's going to come down to, once again, a lower point. People are going to be like, what the hell's happening? That's how it would happen. So many people probably just don't believe that's going to happen, I guess. I don't know. Me personally, when I just look at this, I'm like, are we thinking that everything is just good? Because this thing has been showing a pattern, and we're at a high point again, and we're at a very similar scenario again. And same thing with NASDAQ. NASDAQ has already started to fall, and it's been falling, and it's hung up. Like it was hung up here, anywhere. It doesn't need to be identical. And I just find it super interesting. So if we go to, let me see, let me go to a 4 hour over here in NASDAQ, and let's just see if we can make sense of if one of them is ahead. I feel like NASDAQ's ahead. So here goes NASDAQ, the way it's drawing off of its edge. So boom, boom, W, boom, boom, W. So some people might feel like this is all good. Well, this is no different than being right here. What happened? Shuffle, 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 dropped. So it could shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. It can drop again and create, once again, just a lower high, right? That's a lower high there. So let me do the futures here on Dow Jones. And let's go to a 4 hour and just kind of look at it and say, is there something that's showing us, similar resemblance? And you're going to be like, yeah, Chris, it's doing the W, man. It's doing one of those W's. Maybe it's just behind. Maybe it's right here. It's doing its first W. And maybe that right there, boom, boom, was the W. So if I was to look at this, I would say, okay, well, you came down and you did a W here, right? So is that what you're doing here, and you're pushing up? And then is this going to trickle, and then it's going to fall because some news event? And now that's going to come up with this, and this is going to fall too, and then this continues to fall, and maybe it goes into, is that what's going to happen? There's a strong possibility, yeah. So I don't think that these wicks got closed, by the way, too. By these candles coming up here, it just ate up all those wicks. Those wicks got closed. These wicks haven't down here, right? They haven't came and closed these wicks either. Remember, we got gaps too down here. So once again, there's just so much I'm looking at, and I'm like, You know, as some of the stuff keeps pushing up, people are probably like, it's gonna keep going, and I'm thinking, I don't know, man. Chris, look at row different price exchange. Yeah, it's arbitrage, Paka. It'll stop you from doing it, but yeah, it'd be nice to be able to sell one, go move to the next exchange, buy, sell, and rotate that and make $1 million quickly. But arbitrage, in my earlier days, I tried to pull it off, but they blocked me from doing it. I'm like, I'm gonna be up all night, but I'm about to make $1 million, and I was trying to do it, and they kept blocking me. But that was in 2000, early 2018. ARP could just go to 25 cent max. ARP. Where's I'm sorry, I don't even know what ARP is. ARP, is it ARPA this one right here? See, I like some of these wicks. It might push up some more to close out those wicks there. Is that what you're referring to? ARPA chain? Okay, so I'm gonna get back to I don't want to get too sidetracked here. Some are looking for the mini fractal and stuff like that. Oh, yes. Oh, X. Okay, yeah. That finger jumped to the A instead of the Z and S on there. What's up, Jago? All right, well, Jago, you're jumping in, so I'm about to show. I'm about to be showing the mini fractal. All right, so let's look at XRP's mini fractal and see if it's holding weight right now, still. And I think it is. I think it very much is so. So the mini fractal is going to be this guy right here. Okay, it's when it came off this fall, and then it's drawn this right here. This guy right here. This drawing has been happening on a bigger scale with XRP, so hasn't really missed a beat. So let me take this away. And let me go to, I guess I could leave it on a 4 hour to 4 hour maybe. Let's start over here. Okay, so the point is this one's going to be running out front because it already, so don't worry about my cursor. I have to line up where the match is, meaning like, you know, is this top and this top our match right here? You see what I'm doing? Is that our match right here, where we come down, come over, we push up like that, boom, and then we start to draw sideways, and then what happens? We slip, 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 and you see how this you can see where this is slipping to these lower levels down here, which would be back down here. What is that? That's sub 20. So you see how this could easily, if this is true, where this slips, and then however it wants to draw, I need it to just, it would just draw like this during the next couple months to bottom out a crash. So what else would happen? The Dow Jones that I just showed you would happen. The EOS fractal that we were looking at, the Bitcoin would be done. They're all would be following suit and all be doing this around this area. And I think that was my my forecasting was, you know, let me see what I had. I'm just gonna try to remember what I even say to Q1, Q2, I think I was writing. Q1, Q2, yeah. Expo, thank you. I'm not upset at all. I'm just asking for your black and white call regarding the stock market. For Q1, Q2, 2020, what does it do? We go up or down? I'm saying we go down. We fill gaps. Q1, Q2. So I'm predicting a collapse. Absolutely. That's my clear black and white answer. Q1, Q2 for 2021. So this is back in February. So I'm saying that because when I was measuring this out, I'm still seeing that there needs to be this draw here that needs to finish this thing up. And if this is true, well, then we're going to be what are we going to be bottoming out? We're going to be crashing through Q1, which we're at the end of Q1 right now. Once this month's over, into Q2, quarter 2, right? So then this is what this is my guess based on just using the mini fractal. So the question is, one is, everything that I'm tying in together, is it all going to be true? The other thing is where are we at on this mini fractal? So let's back it up and just start from the base here where we can look at it and try to piece this thing together. And I'm going to show you guys how I'm doing it. Okay, so remember, this is the mini fractal, but this mini fractal is going to be used in this whole thing. So I'll put my cursor here and you can see how we're together, right? The question is since we're doing this big move, is this little guy right here, is that this guy? Right? And then what ends up happening? You see this whole thing right here that draws? What do we got? Well, we got this like kind of move here, boom. So we got that here. And then these are the three cups that go backwards. So this would be X. This would be X. You guys see it? And then we go back and we got our cup here, and then there's like 1, 2. So these almost meet up together. So then we'll say, we'll do it backwards. We'll do Y. We'll do Y, right? Then we'll do Z, right? Z. And we'll just do the number 1 for that guy. You guys see how this is going to unfold now? So now we're going to walk through this to say, okay, if we got this stuff in the right point, let's walk through this and see how well we match up, right? So we got our 1, we got our 2, we got our Y cup, and then we got our X cup. After the X cup, we get a mountaintop. We get a mountaintop, which is right here. Let's just walk through this whole thing and see where, let's just see where it ends us. I haven't fully done this yet at this level because this is the latest. So I'm doing it live with you guys. Okay, so there goes our mountaintop that we're matching here because we already checked everything left to right. We then now have 2 cups, a 1 cup, a 2 cup. You can kind of see it there. And I'll try to turn these off so it doesn't get us too confusing. So then that would be 1, 2. That'd be 1, 2. It then comes up and comes down, but then comes up. So is this, let me slide this down. Boom, boom. So is this flat top here, which we'll put like, we'll just put an A here so we can get our, so we don't get too confused on everything. Is that our A? And then this sliding down and then goes to a gooseneck. Okay, we can, yeah, I mean, there's truth that could happen. And then we go to a gooseneck. So can we say that that is our V here? And then this goes to a gooseneck? Absolutely. I mean, it's got very, I mean, once again, if we back it up and look at what's unfolding here. You guys see it when I do it this way? I'm trying to make it work because it's obviously a bigger version. This is a mini version. This is the bigger version. You can see how we accounted for this behavior. This behavior all matched. And look what we have after our gooseneck. This is where you start to really be like, well, damn, man, he just literally walked through this. And we're matching points, we're matching drawings, and we get to this gooseneck, and he's saying after the gooseneck there's about to be a big mountaintop. Is that what ends up coming through? And you're like, holy shit, it did come through, right? So then you're like, well, shit, there goes our mountaintop. It is coming through. It's drawing it in a bigger form. So now we got our mountaintop, right? So then we'll put our M here for mountaintop, right? I've been watching this for a while. It's been, that's why months are going by. Whoops. Okay, I always do that. Okay, so now we got our mountaintop. So now we need, it drives me nuts when it does that. Okay, so now we got our mountaintop on this mini fractal. This is what it looks like. I have to stretch it out because I got to see the behavior. It then comes down and it does like a W here, which would be this right here. So we then have this W that comes in and then it pushes up a little bit here in flat top. So it's like, okay, well, let's see what we did. So once again, we'll just kind of do a W here. And that's what I'll do here. Right? So I'm like, okay, I kind of got the same behavior, but XRP shot up right here. Pow, pow, pow. It didn't do it aggressively here. But it did do it enough where it's like, hold on, you're doing some very similar behavior. Even though we pushed up aggressively here, it still is following suit. And I see what you're doing, and then it's, you know, jogging down, you know, and then it drops. So we jogged down, right? And then it dropped, ended up dropping, right? So then I'm like, all right, well, if this is lining up still, is this what we have left to do? We have to drop and do all this. We have to slide down below this level. So then I would have us right here and say, okay, well, if that's the case, are we playing around on an edge right here? Like that move is this move. So then I then look at this and say, okay, Well, we came down, we dropped, hit that, it comes down at this, and then it pushes up, and then it does this. It's like, so what is that my cup, this full-on cup in here? Is that what this was right here? And is this move right here where we're at? It's my question to you guys. I literally just walked through this whole thing. And one could be like, well, dude, we just walked through this whole thing. It's not really missing a beat too much. It's kind of showing us that there's possibly one drop, two drop. So if that's the case, so does XRP end up dropping here? Boom, boom, right? Shuffle, not that it has to be identical, and then drop again. Look where I'm at, by the way, just by those moves. Look where I'm at. Sub 15, 11, 10 to create that move, if that's true. That it slips down from those points. And if that's the case, then this is where we strike, all up on here. If you are in Tori's group, Tori is fanatic. He's like super stoked about all this, and he's going to be winning big time. So he doesn't see some of the stuff I do at this level, but he just goes off of, sometimes he'll ask me for my, he won't ask me for anything. He'll just look at my gaps, sometimes look at stuff that I do. So when I look at this, and I've accounted for all this stuff back here, and you know the Mountaintop matches here, and just everything is just, you know, it's drawing, it's hitting the points, you know, just different heights and stuff, you know. If that's the case, then we're here, if that's the case. So let me take this away. We still need to draw two more, and wherever it draws is where I'll end. So if it doesn't go too low and it stops here, well then I think that's it. But once again, you guys see how this stuff can, you know, it's eating up time to make these moves like that, right? This circle right here, that circle right there would be this guy. You know, it's got a cup there, a cup there. I mean, however somebody wants to look at it. And I'm going to show you some more about this, because if we go and look at what ADK just did. ADK just dropped off that edge. And I think DJ, Don here, and maybe somebody else in the public live stream last night was like, yo, go look at ADK. ADK is looking like XRP on the 4 hour. Well, what did ADK do? Let me go back to it. Let me go to ADK. And also, this they're all looking like it in a way. So let's look at ADK. Look at what ADK did. So it came off that edge. So if we go to XRP and say, XRP, you're going to come off the edge just like ADK. This is not even, I need to put this on a 4 hour. So if ADK, and you can see ADK pushed up, pushed up first and started drawing on this. So however somebody wants to look at it, where, you know, is that going to happen off of XRP? Is XRP going to drop off the edge there? You know, it says it here in the mini fractal that it needs to do that. And when I got gaps below, you know, I got 25 cent, 22 cent. Here, let's add everything that we're looking at together, so we're not, you know, we got to remember all the stuff we're looking at. Say, okay, well, what else do we have that adds to this kind of, you know, view? You know, and here's what I have. I have where we're sitting at right now. Don't worry about that white line. Let me drop this down to an hour. Okay. Oh, okay, so that gap got closed, but watch this. I can move it because there's a gap open right here still. There's a gap there that's open, hasn't been filled yet. So yes, that one did get closed, but now this is still open. So 42 cents is open, right? I can probably find more open. Let me see what this is. It's kind of close, but there's a 29 I had there. Some of these are shifting on me. Let me go to a 30-minute. I didn't see why that's, if it's shifting or if they're closing them out and not letting them be aware. That one looks pretty good. Okay, that's an open gap there. Yeah. You see it? That's an open gap there. I mean, I could probably, that's an open gap there. I mean, some of these are like little guys, but 25 cents, 26 cents. We're going to look at another chart in a second anyways. There's a 22 down here. That's a clear gap that's open on the 22. That one got closed. And do I have anything else? No. So we're going to go to the next XRP gaps right here. I got a 16.5 down here. Damn, this thing goes back. Wow. Let me put this on like a 1 hour. Try to eat up some time here. Never got closed right there. Yeah, there's a gap here too. So there's one right there too. Did that get closed? 16.9. There's a big one right there. That one probably got closed at 17. So the 17. Let me run a 17.1 on that, because that might be another gap right here. Look at this. I'm just gonna say that. See if it got closed right there. But there's a gap here also that didn't get filled. So if we come over here, let's see if it got cleared out. Yeah, see how it got cleared out, both of these? So I might as well, that's why I wiped those. So they did get cleared. So we got to wipe that. That wick took them out. So that's gone. That's gone. However, there's still this guy down here to support why we would be dropping. Yeah, that one didn't get, that wick didn't do nothing over there. So here we are once again. It's a Bittrex chart. Is there anything new that's popped up? Nothing there. Nothing. See anything right here? Nothing. I'm on a 1 hour right now searching just to see if something new popped up. So if I drop down to a 30-minute, because even these 30 minutes they get closed, so that's why I look at them. So if we got a 30-minute chart up, I would then say, okay, we got a little gap right here for the time being. So I could say I can add that right now, you know, say there's one right there. Just keep scanning, scan, nothing. Come over here, that wick, we got to go underneath the wick because that wick took stuff out. So then we just go sideways, see if there's anything here. Nothing. You can see everything's getting closed, but see right here is, remember, there's a gap here. This candle and this candle, nothing got taken out right there. So one could say, well, does this one hold weight? Well, it's like, well, it's a gap, man, so just add it. See how this got closed? That was a gap, but that wick came down and closed it, right? Keep on coming down here, nothing on this. And I haven't even checked, I haven't went bananas yet on any other charts. So let's see if there's anything here that is open still. No, see, that's too tight. I wouldn't even do that one. That one's too tight. That didn't get closed. I mean, it got closed. So for this chart, but dude, on this one, I mean, I could say this whole thing is just a big bunch of messy gaps all over the place. Let me go back to a 1 hour on this one and scan this one last time real quick while I'm with you guys. All right, so these all got closed out, by the way, up here. Those gaps all got wiped out. The 55, 52 cents. So here we go again. And what do we got? Well, we definitely got a gap at 47. So there's a highly likelihood that we're at least coming down a penny. I got one right here now. That's a wide open gap. 45 cent comes in. So now we're getting some confirmation that we can come down. There's a lot of gap there that we can come down more. This one never got wiped out. It tried to. It didn't get wiped out. So now we got more. We got a 43 center. We got more. We got a 42 center. This is telling me XRP comes down right now. It's going to come down. Like at least to these areas. Because look at how many I'm picking up right now. Well, I'm just with you guys looking at this. And then I got this monster one here from here all the way down. So like I can move this all the way up to here, right? and say, well, there goes a gap from there, and then I can go all the way down to here and drop one in and put a big spacer in between this whole thing. So from 42, all of 42, 42.3 to 42.0 is wide open. Yeah, Tory is ridiculous, man. I mean, I don't even care what mistakes that guy makes in the meantime. I've already seen enough from him. There's a gap here as well. So 40 cents. So just in the meantime right here, guys, like, you know, that's what I do. I zoom in on some of them just to see, you know, I don't care if if there's a space there, I'm going to mark it, man. So here you go. You got from where we're at right now. Remember, these gaps got closed. They're already closed. I should probably write that so it doesn't confuse people, you know. Do say gap closed, right? So gap closed. Let me drop that down to a 16, and then I'll clone that bad boy, and we'll go ahead and drop it here. So gap closed, right? These are open still. Just slide these over here. So open. Let's go see right here. Remember, these wicks came down, so we can't look at any of this. These wicks, we got to go below the wicks, which means we got to go right here to start looking. See if we find anything more. Right? Nothing. I marked that guy there. Let me see how good that is. Yeah, I mean, there's enough of that's a little space. That's a trend line, so don't worry about that one. I don't know what the hell happened here. They must have closed this one out. They must have removed it, blocked it out for me. But it doesn't negate this guy down here that shows 25 cents. I'm going to leave that because I had it there for a reason. But, you know, whatever. The system went and fixed it. But there's definitely a gap here. This isn't a gap because that wick closed it out. There was a gap, but it got closed out. There's definitely a gap right there at 25 cents. So 25 cents is definitely a spot. And then, you know, I got this one down here at 22 cents. It's a clear gap, you know. This, because here's the candle right here that was supposed to come and clear this. There's a candle missing. So this whole little area here is a gap. All right, so we come down underneath. And that's it on this one. So I didn't go look at any other charts, but there goes enough for me to say, well, it's supposed to come down into the 40s at least here. Boom, boom, boom. And then I got some support saying that it can come down to the 29, the 26, the 25, the 22. And then I had that one that was I have a 15 and a 16. So I have that 16 cent on this guy. You know, I got the 48 there. And there's a 30 cent down here on this guy. That was on the 30-minute scale. And then I got a 16 down here. So I have support saying that these things, that this can come down and close these gaps down here. You know, we just saw it. So then that would deem true, that this could be deeming true. And if this happens, and we drew it right, and we measured it right, and everything's right, then that's what happens. That comes down. I mean, if I was to read it another way, I could probably do it this way. So if I, like, let's say I line these up like this and said, okay, well, this mountaintop is this mountaintop, and then I did this W here, which I would say is this, and it's pushing up, and we're over here. At the end of the day, let me turn these on. Is it coming to the same point? No, that has me over here. So either way, it's either here and we come down or here and we come down. One of the two. However somebody wants to draw it. Remember, this is the mini version, so it's a smaller version of what we're doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's see how this thing unfolds to see. But as of right now, I would assume that we would be dropping off this to these levels back here. Let me see. Which is these levels here, Yeah, so I would think we're coming back down to these levels, these low 20s and stuff. And then it says that that's just that move, but it can draw even deeper. So this drew this point came all the way back down to that X area. Now that would put us down here, 17 cents, this area, if that's true. If we wanted to hold weight to that candle, that wick, and say, oh, that wick came all the way down to, you know, pretty much Y almost, which would be right here, which would be 17 cents again. So I think it doesn't need to be that identical, but that's how it would match up. Exactly how it would match up. So if we take that and I'm literally going to just sit there and watch that and see, is that what's going to happen here? So then I'll put it side to side and say, okay, well, here goes XRP. Here goes my mini fractal. Does this this edge here? I'm trying to see how this was. Yeah, are we at this edge? And then we're going to like maybe draw sideways a little bit and fall over. Time will tell. These are both 4 hours. They shouldn't be the same when you're looking at a mini fractal. So when I go to that 23 hour, it just shows me, I'm like, what does the 23 hours say? It says if this rolls over like that, and that 200 is already pointing down, that you're going to slip and create a head and shoulders. And it's supposed to slip here, it says, and then another slip. So it should slip once and then slip twice, is what I'm saying. There's two more slips off of this, and then I'm gonna be good. So yeah, I would think that it drops right here. This one comes over and drops another one. But these are mini fractals. So if this happens in a bigger form, it's gonna go boom down to the 20s, right? And then slip over again and go down to the sub 15s. That would be my guess if this continues to follow suit. But right now I can't say anything because nothing is showing that it's fully coming through. It already came through once. It's been drawing, it's pushed up, and you know, I can account for these moves, you know, one way or another. Because even when I look at it from this perspective, I mean, what does it show? 1, 2, 3? I mean, is it going to be 1, you know, 2 and 3, and it drops even lower, goes down to 6 cents? That's why I can say 6 cents is possible. You know, I can see how it would be possible if this continues to draw this way, and this becomes drastic. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys, what I'm watching on behind the scenes and stuff. And you know, just excuse me, I'm yawning here. And when I zoom out from that and just look at the 23 hour, and I just look at the moving averages here, I'm just like, if this rolls over and cuts through this, we're doing this whole thing again. We're doing this whole thing again, which is a fall. Whoops. Which that is a head and shoulders. That ends up happening. Let me look at basic attention token. I want to see something with this. Oh, remember those and what else supports this fall and stuff? These wicks. These wicks. Look at that wick all the way down to 15 cent for ADA. Won't be surprised, you know, that would happen. I wanted to look at something about basic attention token. I think it was the fractal itself. Let me see how this looked on actually let me check the 23 hour on it. See how it was drawing when it fell. Yeah, here's the way it was looking when it was topping out. There's somebody else I was watching, and I was looking at the way it was touching the yeah, here was the way it was drawing when it was pushing up. So does basic attention have a little bit more of a push? Possibly, you know, push up before it falls. Time will tell, you know, because I can see an inverse head and shoulders off this. There's something else I wanted to look at with it. Oh, the maybe it was that versus the 80K fractal. The way, because 80K was already falling. Yeah, that's what it was. Look. So this is what it was. So when I put, you see how 80K hit the point first? So look, 80K hit it, then we jump in it. So it's going to go and draw something like it, a W. So I'll just do this. So I'll grab this and just do, you know, 1, 2, right? So we'll go 1, 2. So when you see me hit these points, 1 goes up, down. So this would be like this, would be this middle, right? Boom, boom, boom. Comes up, shuffle, 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 shuffle. Drop, drop, drop. Look at the moving averages, both 4 hours. You see what I'm saying? Like I mean, it's not that I'm fully like looking for this, like all to be just a shit show, but that mini fractal has been sticking around, and there's just some signs, the gaps and everything just all add up. The only thing that confused me over the weekend is that Bitcoin didn't follow / catch up with the stock market, but then again, nothing draws, moves perfectly anyway. Any thoughts? Yeah, Mick, we'll look. I'll pull that up. And I'll pull Bitcoin up right now against this Ados Kunin. It could just delay even more. It could just be the day that it didn't do it, and it's going to catch up eventually. This is the way this looks right now. So, you know, you could say, okay, well now this is drawing an inverse head and shoulders, and then now Bitcoin needs to run sideways, right? Yeah, that would push this sideways. So if I was to look at this, I mean, I could account for this little guy right here. So you see I was 1 there, 2 there, 3 there. And I could say, okay, I got 1 here, got 2 here, I got 3 here. So I have 1, 2, 3. And then this was my top. This is my top. And then boom, boom, boom. This would be my middle right there, because these two would be here like that. Let me erase that and draw this all over again for you guys. But because I'm catching it right there. So is it possible that whoops, we have an inverse head and shoulders right here, running right here, that we can see, and then this was our top, and 80K is out front. So then Bitcoin needs to shuffle right there. So Bitcoin is now pushed up, it needs to shuffle, and then something happens, news or something just happens, it just, oh, it's dropping, right? And now it's catching up to NASDAQ, and now everyone's like, oh shit, right? Could that be it? Absolutely. That would be the top right there. Run sideways against resistance. Yeah, just bounce that fib level. What's up, Matthias? You're back. So yeah, this so let's look at this Ados Kunin, which might seem bizarre for a lot for us to use, but why is, I mean, it's definitely showing some, it shot up first. I mean, dude, this thing went down 80%. Holy shit, you know what I mean? But this thing went up drastically, just like everyone else. You know what this reminds me of? Let's look at, let's look at some assets right here. This is where we can gain knowledge. Look, OGN, we were just looking at this. Okay, so is OGN just like delaying, and it's lagging behind this? So here they fell together, bop, 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 come to a cup, this bottom of this cup, right? And then look what ends up happening. Boom, shoots up, comes down, right? So it shot up, comes down, hits the 200. See it hit the 200? This then pushed up again, created a higher high from that, which is exactly what OGN just did. We'll see how this closes fully. So then this move right here in the middle, so you can see how this right here, so if you're playing OGN, you would then be looking, let me remove this, you would then say, okay, well, if it wants to follow and just keep following this, then that's the way it's going to be, is that this ends up happening, this pushes up, so then OGN would do this. You're pretty much, I mean, you would like that completely start, and we gotta, and that's what ends that's what ends it all right there with everything, right? Because look, this hit first, and now this is starting to catch up to do its fractal. So it then could do something like this, and it'll kill it. So realistically, I mean, there's always a chance that it goes up more, but this could kill it. This was an 80. It really goes back to, you know, people losing their profits quickly, nothing becoming real. It can be that real where it's like, dude, I was in profits and now, you know, now it's already back down here, right? That's how this thing works. You're welcome, Mick. Or Mike, I don't know how to pronounce. So let's look at some more real quick. All right, so I was just pulling that one. Not that that one needs to be anything. I'm just gonna pull some random ones here, like TRX, and just see if. Yeah, so like this can mean like we can make some money. This is why I say you can make money on the short term, but I'm not negating the fall. So like, if I was to make a play and bet on this, let's say this pushes up. So where can we make money right here? Absolutely, you can make money right there. So like, there's nothing, like I'm not against it. I just don't feel comfortable, you know, until I can find stuff reading this stuff. Let me go to like UTK and some of the ones that I went over yesterday just to see what they're looking like. Yeah, see, this is why this one is, you know, pushing up a little bit. It's allowed to push up. So this might be the end of March or something that this happens, or April this happens. So I think we might still have a little bit of time here. It's possibly a little bit more time here. Grin hasn't even done anything, which just blows my mind. But once again, it can push up too. You know, which isn't bad. So yesterday, I'm assuming everyone bought down here if they did, so they'd be up a little bit. So yeah, you can pull 60 some percent, however it goes off that, get the hell out, and then go run another. Who was another one? Ample. Yeah, see, here's Ample right now. Let me see. It doesn't really look the same, but anyway, some of them are all pushing up right there. Once again, it doesn't. When it's time to go the opposite way, they all bail on their point. So here's a perfect example. You can see where this is at. So can this? It tapped here. Can this just do one more push up? One last one. Slide up in here, and then roll over. Yes, can do that. Does it have to? No. I mean, it could do this. It can do this on a sideways version. You know what I mean? It can do it sideways. So you see how this one, this is where you got to watch out for stuff. You see how this did it on an uptrend and it's running up like that? Well, this one can do it on a downtrend and do the same draw. So we could account for like a move here, you know, 2 here, and then 3, right? So we can say, oh, we got our 1, we got our 2 here. And then it could drop this and do a 3 version and drop like that. And then that was our 3. Same coding. 1 ran up, 1 was running down. That's what's hard with fractals. But you see how it would still be doing the same behavior. It's still accounting for every move. It's just doing it on a decline and not on an incline. You know? But that doesn't mean this can't just push up and create it on, you know, on an incline. It can. Very well can. But this, I find this very interesting, especially with what we already got. You got it right, Mick, but Mick. Okay, gotcha. Cool. At what point do you say this, my long-term bags and short-term, if we are putting to retest the lows? What point do you say this is my long-term bags and short-term if we are going to possibly retest the lows of March 2020? Jake, what I think I do, and what I'm definitely gonna do is and see, once again, if you guys are in Tory's stuff here, man. You know that he looks at these wicks as they get filled, which would mean that this comes down. So that means there's at least a 50% drop on the horizon that we could, you know, take advantage of, dodge it. That doesn't mean we buy right there, which it doesn't mean it's a bad buy. You're buying at a good level, you know. But I think we come back down here more, and I think we close out those marches. So to answer your question, Jake, I get back into coin hopping mode a little bit more aggressively because I know that gaps are filled. We're on an uptrend. So I then take a good part of my portfolio and I let it ride for the long term. And then my short term becomes a hop and hold. I'm not emotional to it. So a perfect example is, you know, taking stuff like Top. And this is what I do. I'll take Top Network, right? And let me see, what's this one at right now? Okay, so top network, I'll use this example, and I will sell, and then I'm not worried about it. If it goes up again, that's fine, because it's a short-term bag. I'm just taking profits and I'm moving. So if it's long-term, I just let it ride through everything. But when you're coin hopping, you're really numb to it. It really is helpful, because you're not worried because you have long-term bags. But you'll start buying stuff, and when it goes up, you'll just exit. So like MHC, I don't know what it's at now. I exited. I'm not concerned that it went up more. Yeah, so what is this at right now? 147%. I sold at like 120%. So I didn't get the full. That's fine. I left. I took the profits, you know, and then I'm going to go something else. So I might say, oh, well, OCN hasn't really moved yet. I think OCN maybe goes up on its fibs. Maybe I say OCN comes up here, and I'm going to sell out there. It's going to come up. It's going to copy that let me take this off here. Let me say I'm running that Eidos Kunin fractal, and I'm like, oh, this thing is I think it could push up here before it falls. See, some of these, yeah, so let's say I think it's right here, and it's going to push up all the way to that wick, all the way back up that point, maybe run through fib extensions. I have money on this, by the way. So let's say I push this up. Well, I'm going to then sell out of this. I'll be like, I'm out. Well, I fulfilled this. I'm happy with it. I made gains. I'll go find something else. So I would just keep using that play money and just keep rolling around from one to another. This is another one I threw some money at. Once again, I'm literally just looking at fractals, and I can use this Eidos Kunin and trust that maybe it's going to run this. You know, boom, take 40, 50 off that, get out. Especially since I need to watch this to see what it does, because this could still pull up a little bit while we're waiting. And then when these go down like that, that'll go down another leg. So it's all however you want to play it. AOA, let me see what AOA is looking like. Yeah, like AOA is hitting this area right here. I can see AOA pushing up. But my big thing is, man, at any point, man, when it's time to go, it's time to go, man. I've seen it happen in September of 2020, August of 2020. I want to go through some more of these, though. I don't want to just stop what we did, you know. So you can say, what does Adam look like? I find this so interesting. I want to see if these push up and just pull this move right here, or if they don't, because I can see how this has been met. That's already taken place with bit. So this move touching the 200 and pushing up has already happened. 80K, and it's now working on a cup. Basic attention token is. So that means basic attention token. We need to watch to see if in the next couple days it decides to drop, which would be by the end of the week. Is this going to drop? And if this goes to drop, what are everybody else doing? Here goes Bitcoin Cash. Let me go to EOS, because EOS, we need to go look at EOS's 23 hours. So if we look at EOS, it's very similar to Bitcoin Cash. This is where I find it interesting. So is this push up this, and it's going to push up one more time, do this, and then fall? Well, if we look at this on that 23 hour again, like we were just looking at, it's showing that it could be right here, you know, any of these, and it could start the fall. It doesn't need to push up anymore like 80K. It'll just catch up to 80K now and just fall. Which is why, if you're asking me, hey, why aren't you buying some of these to ride them up? Because I know that they can just turn over. So I can throw in 10 grand here and it just turns over and I just lost 5K. It's like, well, that's me pushing it, trying to force it. Once again, it can happen, but it's a risk. It's a risk. There's definitely a risk involved in it. Let me see if so that's, I'm definitely watching this behavior on these fractals. I mean, this hit a top too. So if I turn on the lights here, I thought it was on this one. Maybe here, let me go back to what I had. Maybe it was over here. Let's go to EOS again. I have that box that I drew on there. Yeah, look at this. You guys might find this interesting that I did. Okay, so let's go to like an 8 hour. Okay. So what I did was, I'm going to take it off. You see how we got two tops up here? They're like really clean. And then it comes down off. And you can see the moving averages and everything. And you can see how it's drawing when it comes down off. I also looked, I'm like, there's 1, 2, 3 cups there. And I'm like, well, I got 3 cups jammed in here. 1, 2, 3. See them? 1, 2, 3. I got 3 cups jammed side by side. These ones were staggered. Remember how I was telling you that they can be staggered? See? 1, 2, 3. Coming off that top. Coming off the top, 1, 2, 3. So I then look at that and I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting behavior. Once again, I know there's gaps and stuff below, wick stuff. We could already be starting a crash. I think that's why I made this comment here. I'm like, let's see. So, what's Songbird? Yeah, do we fall? Make your call. One could assume all is underway. Crash has started, eh? So, yeah, has crash started, eh? You know, is this following suit? Look how close and beautiful this is. So, that's why I ran these lines on it. So, I ran a line across the top. I ran a line across here. See that left side? Well, I go to the other side, go to the right side and say, okay, well, we both got the point. I'm hitting that, and I'm hitting that on the both sides right here. So right now it's checking it. All right. So I'm like, it's wedged in here in this box at the moment. So does it climb out of the box? Does it start dropping to the purple box? We're about to find out, you know, if it does. If it drops down to the purple box, that's at least a 50% fall. Now we're getting back down to March levels for EOS. So it was just, I kind of put this in here just to kind of like run some base lines across the sides. I thought it was interesting. Let me go back to this. So this is typically what I'll do sometimes at night. I'll just be staring at these things from different perspectives and just run through a ton of assets. Yeah, so this is how this one worked here. Huh. What's Digibyte doing? I don't know, man. These things aren't in the best position. Because if this is the top and we're on the right side, then this is a fall. Then we're coming back down some more. You know? So if we're on the right side of something like this, then we have the falls are coming in. Remember, I got a bunch of gaps down here that need to be filled. Yeah, so if this is the right side, and that is, then this starts coming back down. Now everything is completely, once again, if you didn't take profits, we're back to regular levels here. We got gaps and wicks to fill. Wicks down here to fill tons of gaps. Yeah, I don't like that for Digibyte right now. Well, we'll see if it recovers. This is interesting to look at, side by side, right? Look at that. This is a Dogecoin. So now they get together. So is Dogecoin gonna run up sideways? I know the moving averages are flip-flopped a little bit, but is it gonna run up and then drop? There's a lot of people in Dogecoin. I can promise you that. They're looking at it, and I'm just like, why are you guys going at this so much? Where's it at? Yeah, at the gym today, guy comes up to me that I've helped in real estate for years ago. He remembered I was in crypto. Walks up and says he has a question. He says, "Hey man, are you in crypto still, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, what do you think about dog coin? He's like, doggy or do. I'm like, and instantly I'm like, I told him, I'm like, get away from that. I'm like, don't touch that. But they don't know. They don't know. They're like, well, what? You know, they don't know. Fake dog bone. They have no clue, Mick. I'm just like, you know, that's what makes me think. I'm like, dude, I need to get out of this market. Look, Eidos Kunin already created a gap. So there goes a gap being created as I'm on here with you. See it? Which would say what? Eidos Kunin, you coming down some more? Probably, or at least coming back to fill that gap. So when I look at this right here, and we looked at basic attention token and stuff, these are just very, I mean, I don't even look at this much. One candle shifts it all, man. Ethereum Classic hasn't done nothing. Once again, on the right side, Ethereum Classic. Let me check the 23-hour on the Ethereum Classic. Yeah, if this is true, because this is the way it looked last time. If this rolls over, it ends up rolling over off this edge, because we came down, we come up, you know, we're doing behavior like this. Right in between here. If this comes down, boom, boom, wipes it out. What do you think everybody else is doing at that point? Ethereum. Oh, I thought it was going to drop right there. You can see I could scoop and score. Didn't happen. Look at this. Remember that mini fractal I showed you guys on Bitcoin? We could do the same thing right here. See this run up right here? Boom. Comes the top. Tops in. We start to look at that. Look at that little move up there. Maybe we're drawing that little cup right there. And next thing you know, there's a freaking line down. Boom, 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 boom. Tori's stoked. I'm stoked. We have like down here, we got gaps across the board. Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's literally, it could be that close. The crash could have already started where this is starting. And all it takes is one day, possibly in 2 days or so, it syncs everything. It literally mimics this down here. This is a baby version. This is a big version. Baby version, big version, comes down, takes it out. We're aware. We're awake to it. We save money. We're on the sideline. That happens. We freaking unload our money at the base of this thing. Do you know how stoked you are? Because you know it's going to go back to this. If not, it's going past that. It'll go past that. You're literally scooping up down here, and literally you're able to go 10x again. Like you probably, like, because a lot of us have held and we're making money. I mean, even if you sold near where I sold and you sold at like a halfway point and this thing comes down, you would then, dude, you 5x'd and then you go in 10x again, or 15x. It's that close, guys. This is what on solidity looks like. It's behind basic attention, sort of. Okay, so when you're done, go to your last tweet when you posted about this live stream and look at the picture I uploaded. It's about your XRP drawing and how I fixed it so it looks more accurate. Thanks, bro. Let me look at it. So here. That was what I saw it. Now it makes sense. Ah, thanks for sharing this. Okay. Yes. Oh, I like that. What you have. So we still have. Okay, so yes. That's the other way to look at it, dude. Thank you for picking up on this. I'm glad some of you guys are in this because you guys can see it. Alexis, I'll pull up that ontology in that bat. This is how I'm looking at it too, man. I have this version and then the other version I did. The other version says we're here. Your version, which I'm open to this one, says we're back here still. And we're going to still slip. We still got a lot of slippage to do. And I'm okay with that. And then, you know, after it shoots out of here, it comes over and it shoots again. It pushes up, which could be massive moves up. But I just think this thing comes through, man. This is really good. I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah, it was good. When you guys are looking at some of my stuff, you can You can get, you can see it from a different perspective because I'm thinking and you guys are watching it and you might pick it up from a different perspective. Like, oh shoot, I'm seeing it this way, you know, which is definitely still on the books here, man. Okay, so ontology and basic attention token, Alexa says. Yeah, so you said ontology looks like it's correct. That would be correct way to look at it. Why? Because you would then do this. God, I like it when you guys are picking up on this stuff. You're like, oh, well, so Alexis, you might feel comfortable knowing this. You might say, well, I feel pretty comfortable knowing that this might get a good push out of ontology. So you might make a play there if you want to because you feel comfortable about it because you kind of see it, you know, that it can do that because it already copied this. It then fell. They're then scooping up. This one's just way ahead, so this would have to slide up, come up here, and then fall. But like I said, when it's time to go, they will bail where they're at. I promise you, I've seen it a lot. Chris, are you on MXC? Check UTI tricks and W. And also, Road went up over 400% on there at one point. I'm not on MXC, David. I don't know if I can get it. Are you in, David? Are you in the States? Does anyone know why we can no longer see the comments we are posting on Chris's live stream? Evoke, see if you're stuck in the Twitter YouTube. So if you're on YouTube and it's in Twitter, that might be the problem. You need to get out and go into an actual YouTube. Here, click this link I'm about to drop. I'll give you a link. Right here. Click this, see if this fixes it. Go there. Yeah, David, I don't know if I can get it, man. I'll see if I can. So on that exchange, you're saying that it did those moves. 400%. Yeah, the whole, dude, this is why sometimes it's so weird, man, with like Road and stuff. Like people are like, dude, what's up with the Road thing? And it's like, it's up 70% right here. And I'm like, Qcoin announces they're delisting it. This goes to show that it's all controlled on an algorithm. It's on a computer system because what if this was people buying and selling, who in their right mind on Qcoin, by the way, they announce that they're going to be delisting it and everyone's like, oh, let's buy. You know, and dude, look, it went up, wicked all the way up to 300%. So I'm like, you just went up 300%. Like, doesn't make sense. It's just controlled on the system. But remember, we got lower highs happening here, guys. Don't be scared to take profits, man. No one from yesterday's stream that jumped in, because they jumped in literally down here on Road, if they did, and say, you know what, I'm going to go throw some money at it, they're definitely up at least 150% on their money. But don't be scared to take profits, man, when you're on the edge, like when it's running like this. You don't know, and I'm showing, you know, it can obviously shoot up, but it can also shoot down. No doubt about that. And before it comes, by the time these moving averages cross up, it's already on its way down. So there goes ontology. I'm just really interested to see how this whole thing unfolds here shortly. It's gonna have to be patient. Let me see if I'm making money still. This is why sometimes I'm like, I'll just take my profits and go on the sideline again. You know, because like, you know, I'll make like I can make $1,000 a day sometimes just playing around if I want to. You know, throwing money around. So it's like sometimes it's best just to take the profits. Especially if you can see something like this on the horizon. This is why I was telling people, I'm like, man, I'll just wait. Because I think because I can see something like this happen. So here's a perfect example. So if somebody was holding and they bought this and they're like, hell yeah, man, I'm up 1,500%. I think it's going to go more, right? And they're holding. This is what Tori talks about, and I understand completely what he's talking about. Yeah, man, yeah, I'm up 1,600%. Well, unless you make it real, you are no longer up 1,600%. I mean, obviously it came down to 200%, and now right now it's at 500%. And now they're like, dude, do I sell? Maybe it'll go up more, and then it goes down more. This becomes nothing. And this was just a memory in life, man. Let's go check how the stock's closed. All right, just if you see what I'm saying, man, it's just I hate to. I'm not trying to sound negative. I understand it. It's until you make it real, it's not real. And you know, flexing right now like your portfolio is hot. You know, that's great, but if it turns down, because I have people like flexing like, you know, all right, we'll have fun being poor, and I'm thinking that's what you think's about to happen, and that's what you think's about to happen, but. Here's the way Nasdaq is pretty much closing, DJ. So is it a lower high? That's the question. Do we have a lower high happening here? Possibly. You know, can we throw a channel on this? You know, we could throw something on it like this to see, does it jump out of the channel? Does it stay in the channel? Can push up a little bit more. But as you guys know, this could continue on. Let's look at, I'll throw it on a daily just so you can look at it as a daily perspective. Yeah. Hourly perspective. We topping out on the top up here. Yeah, starting to top out on that stochastic and MACD and RSI. So if it doesn't want to push anymore here, even though it's allowed to, it can push up again, hit that top of that channel maybe if it wants to, and it continues to go down. Well, now we're doing another lower, you know, we're gonna break it. So it's hitting that point there, that see what my pink line is. Let me go to an 8 hour. You see that pink line? That pink line has some points on it, and it's where it's getting stuck. So if it comes back down and breaks through that, look at those moving averages. Those are not good. So it needs to do this right here move. That's what it needs. Two drops, 2 cups, and it needs to roll up. So if when it comes through here, if it doesn't roll up, let me go to a 6 hour. See if we see any changes. Yeah, it's not. It's already fully through it. It needs to roll up. If it don't roll up and it push up, so it needs to push up here to save itself, to go in inverse head and shoulders. If it doesn't, then it's done, in my opinion. It had that shot to recover this, to recover itself. Do you think this could happen at the end of this cycle? Let's check how the market closed. I personally don't think, I think sooner than later, but it's just a thought. Yeah, hey Jago, are you talking about the cycle like this quarter? What cycle? I'll go look at Ample. Could you take a look at Verge if you have a chance? I was trying to set up fib pivots the same way you did yesterday, but I don't think I did it right. Does Tori have a YouTube channel? They have Innovation Markets, Jake, but mostly everything's on the app. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, Jago, and let me look at Dow Jones real quick. And then I'm going to go over to Verge, and I'll set that up with you, Aberslammer. I'll set that up with you. Okay, so it's closed. It pulled back down then. Oh yeah, the 4 hour now is pulling back down. Remember, this stuff kind of continues. Yeah, so there goes the 4 hour where it's almost like, is that topping out? That was that, like, it's now going to roll over. So let me see. It's what we got right there. There. You're welcome. It's so funny. This is the 2, man. Like, let me put this on. So here goes like the way I look at the fractal. See how they run together? Boom. This one is now ahead. It drops that in there, which is this W right there. You see the W cutting up underneath. So this, just kind of mark this so you guys see what I'm talking about. Right? Can I get this one back here? And then this one's back here. So let's do another one back here. Hitting that red, hit that. We got the X in the middle. Pushes up. Boom. Pushes up. Boom. Drop a W on this bitch. Let me back it up here. Drop a W on this thing right here. Drop a W on this thing right here. You see where I'm at, man? Is that what's happening? So is this going to slip and there's going to be some nasty news coming in? Like, holy crap, what's going on? That continues to slip because it's hit a top. Watch out, man. You know what I mean? All right. So yeah, I thought you'd say cycle, bull cycle, having cycle. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this thing happening pretty soon, man. April, March this month. Like seeing more signs, man. I really am. March, more signs. It might be, maybe the second half of March. Next couple days, we can, I can look at the rest of it. But yeah, man, if you look at this is pretty damn clear on one running behind the other. You got it fixed. Anyway, no. Okay, you got it fixed. Okay, gotcha. All right, so let me do the Verge here. So if we go to Verge and let's go to Verge XVG and let's run weekly. I'm gonna go to the weekly. Let's auto it up there. Okay, so here goes Verge, right? So let's go to Fibonacci pivots and turn those on. So now I got the pivots turned on. So this is where they're at, right? So over the R3 at the moment, next would probably be trying to come up here, trying to attack that area, which would be all-time high. Whether that's now or later, we'll find out. Because this could come back down and in a way becomes a double cup, a double bottom, and then scoops. So if you double click these, here's my inputs. Fibonacci, check the historical pivots so we can see the historical ones. I have time frames on auto, and I just go back 15. I don't know what the number of pivots back goes back 15, so I don't know fully what that is. Probably maybe 15 rows, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 15 rows. Deposits are down for road on all exchanges. Got it. Appreciate it. Didn't realize Innovation Market was Tori. Yeah, Innovations is Tori. So Tori's name is Cortan, and Bernie's his buddy. I think Bernie Dorian. So it's them two, and Innovation Markets. So they're I value them. He gives me extra confirmation on some of my stuff, so I thank him. I appreciate him for it. Once again, no one's going to be 100%. So sometimes we'll have little runs where you'll see one person doing really good, reading charts good, and then they kind of slip, and then another person will pick up and they're doing some good readings. It's always going to be that way. Not everyone's going to nail them down 100%. But the main calls are the ones you want, and somebody that's just going to be straight up and not BS you and not try to just get you to just try to make money on you. They're just actually trying to help, and they're enjoying it. Ample was the other one, right? So I like Ample for this reason. I have money sitting in Ample. Look, the reason why I like it is it's so calm. It's like consolidating, right? It's like just chilling, not touching pivot. Didn't even fully hit S1. It's just in this little pocket here. But I like this wick up here, $99-100. We're at $1 right now. I wouldn't be surprised that eventually this hits that point, 12,000%, and goes up to that R3 up there, clears both R3s. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens. So with this one, I don't mind, having some money sitting in it while even the market did crash, just let it ride. I also like UTK a lot for that reason. If you go to UTK, and this is just hopium, can always happen. So I have money in this. If we can get up to this R3 from where we're at right now, that's 1,300%, 1,600%. It's not bad. It's not what that one did, but this is just the first level of R3. If it does that and clears out this wick, otherwise it can come back down and then go clear the wick out. So let's say it does come back down and we catch it some lower levels here, because I got some gaps on it, and then we go up. Look, 90,000%. So you tell me. You can, I mean, it depends. I mean, that's if you've been holding this, but a lot of people, it's not like a lot of people have been holding this from day one and a lot of money. So then this, right now, to this R3, let's just call it this 1,300%. Or would you rather have a crash, come back down here, clear this, and now go up? You see what I'm saying? Why this is way more valuable than trying to make plays after I sold right here on this. It's not like I'm buying back in high, so much higher. I sold right here at this level, right? So I threw some money back on it to see if I can catch that ride there. But ideally, if this thing comes back down to a lower level and I can buy this, and then I mean, that's just insane, dude. That would all, and I could see that happening in 2021, like where you guys are taking, I'm taking money, we're dropping at these lower levels and scooping. It's like a scoop and score, man. It's like boom, boom, and just slide up. That's the stuff I'm talking about, man. It really is, because it's no different than, you know, me adding. Let me put Luna, man. I messed up on the Luna. Luna was one I was sitting some decent money in, and I messed up on it. Shit happens. Weekly. Alright, so here goes the weekly. This is how it looks. Let me see. Boom. So here goes the cup that they did together. And then they got to the same point. They've been, now this, you see how this could push up aggressively again. But we can't rely on it. See how that goes to this, it goes through R3, it goes to the next R3. So, you know, I could play this to try to 10x, 15x, 12x my money. So that's what I'm doing in the meantime, but it could die on me. Just roll over. You know. If Bitcoin's done and all these are done, it's time to turn over. I've seen it plenty of times. I mean, here's a perfect example. Look at this peak right here for Utrust. You see how Utrust went through its S1, went from S1 all the way to R3, pushed up aggressive? Look at what Luna did. Luna didn't do that yet. You see what I'm saying? So when it was time to go down, Luna just went down there. Luna didn't say, well, I need to go to my R3 first before I come down. No, it just, when it's time to go down, it's time to go down. So it went down right here. And that was like a 40, 50, 60% correction. And then, you know, they pushed up again. So this could get that next push. It could. Or it's time to go down. And then it's time to go down. You know, it's just really what it is. Because like if we take Grin and run it next to Luna, you can say, well, damn, this right there was the cup. Then it pushed up, came already back down, pushed up. It's like this thing already came back down and checked its S1. Is Grin ahead of everybody? I mean, Grin hasn't even done anything. It's just been falling still while everybody else is going up. So, you know, here where they were the same point, you know, here goes the cup together. So here goes COVID crash, run sideways, push up, come into a cup. Well, that one did a cup, kept going. This one stopped at pivot, comes back down to S1, hanging out here. So it's like this thing to me needs a lot of making up to do, where it's like should go straight to R3 in a one pump to me. You know, so if you had $1,000 in it, you know, it turns into what, $28,000. If you had $10,000, $280,000. So that's how it could happen very quickly. You know, because 80K pulled that kind of move. So they're all doing their own different things, their own different ways. So if you look at 80K, you say, okay, well, we COVID crashed together, run sideways. This thing came all the way down here, went all the way to R3, back down the pivot. We haven't even moved up yet to at least R3. We haven't even at least did that 4x. Yeah, that file coin, the file for that, for this one particular chart is interesting, but they're not all charts have a wick like that. You know, that's why that one's got the R3 shifted crazy like that. But, once again, I mean, if that did come through, you know, and went straight to R3, that's another 3,000%. but this is a particular chart. They're not going to all have that wick there, which would shift that down. So if we go to Filecoin and do it on Tether USD, well, I'll tell you about it, that one does too. You know, a little different price range though, but it's got it too. Yeah, see how this one's 600. So you gotta check out a couple of them because they're all different. Let me see what time it is. I'm gonna probably jump off here. Yeah, 110 minutes. So what? That's what, 60 plus the 30. I'm sorry, 50. So what is that? An hour and 50 minutes, almost 2 hours. So an hour and 50 minutes on here with you guys. That's the latest that I got, man. I'm watching it all just unfold the best as possible. I like this win. There's some of these I've been looking at Coinbase list because I know that they're going to be adding some of these. So like Ample's on there, Ampleforth. This Wink, which is Win, is on there. So I go and look at some of those. So like this Wink Win thing, I have that. Let me go to it. I'll show you. Dumped first. It was what I had those organized in. Yeah, so I threw some money at this. I mean, I'm already at the R3, but I'm like, you know what, if it, you know, wants to climb up some more or go to this R3, I mean, it's whatever. It's nothing super crazy. But I think some of these can come back down, scoop before they go. MHC, I mean, by the time this goes up here, it's... But look at that. MHC just going to its R3 from buying in right now is 2,000% if it goes to that next R3. But it's already at its R3. So like if this comes back down and we can buy it down here, and then we can look at it going to the R3, that's 18,000%. Big difference. I'm telling you, man, this, if it can crash, it's going to be way worth more valuable than anything if it can crash. That's the difference. 80K is doing a little push right now, huh? All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll catch you guys on another one. Yeah, 80K is pushing right now just to probably create a lower high because it fell, obviously. What did it fall, 80%? Yeah, 80%. This thing deserves to go up a little bit. This thing deserves it. Let me run a fib on it. Take it from the bottom. Oh. Let me get this other one out of here. Run it from the bottom, so attacking that through the 786. It's 702. Let me run it from the other way. Anyways, I'll catch up with you guys later. What's up, Max? I'm heading out, man. Alright, guys. You guys have a good one. We'll get some other stuff done.